Hello, Joe here from Infiniti of Tacoma. Today I'm going to tell you about this awesome 2019 Toyota 4Runner Limited, one of my favorite sport utility vehicles. And let's talk about that. There is a big difference between a conventional sport utility vehicle or SUV, or what we call a crossover or crossover SUV. You know, back in the 80s and 90s, you know, SUVs were all the same. They're all pretty much built the same way. But then we had the Lexus RX 300 come along. That was one of the first crossover SUVs. And then another one is the Subaru Forester. So basically, they were what we'd call sport utility vehicles. They looked like sport utility vehicles, but on the inside, the way they were built a lot more like cars. So for a long time, if your only choice was a big, heavy truck-based SUV, but you really didn't go off-road, you spent most of your time on-roaded, but you wanted a high-up commanding view of the road, you wanted, you know, that extra cargo space, then these crossover SUVs were very appealing because you had those things, but you didn't really have to give up quite as much of the car-like ride, the car-like fuel economy. And now, crossover SUVs are, you know, the hottest vehicles in the market. Most of the vehicles we sell today are crossover SUVs. Americans buy more crossover SUVs than we actually do actual cars. You know, coupes and sedans are almost a dying thing. But then we have the true sport utility vehicles where this 4Runner comes in. This 4Runner is not built on unibody car-based architecture. This is built on regular old truck-based body and frame architecture. So why would you want to buy this antiquated truck-based body and frame built sport utility vehicle? Well, for good reason. If you like to go off-road, you like to tow or haul, you really can't beat the durability and ruggedness of truck-based body and frame architecture. Like the Jeep Wrangler, that's built on body and frame truck-based architecture. That's why it's so good at going off-road. And that's just a few examples. You know, obviously a lot of full-size SUVs like the Chevy Suburban, our own product, the Infiniti QX80, those are all based on truck-based body and frame architecture because people who buy those vehicles tend to be more demanding as far as what they want to do. If you want to go off-road, you want to go four-wheeling, you want to go on some dirt, gravel road, you want to go skiing, driving in the snow and stuff like that, not just, on the road type snow, but, deeper snow and stuff like that, well then, probably a vehicle like this Toyota, 4Runner is going to appeal a lot more to you. The Toyota 4Runner to this day is probably still one of the best out-of-the-box off-road vehicles that you can buy. And it's an amazing product, lots of years and years of refinement improvements, and it's still, to this day, it's a great vehicle. And even if you don't go off-road that often, even though it doesn't drive like a car, it drives like a truck, it drives nice. There's nothing wrong with a truck driving like a truck. A truck can drive like a truck. There's nothing wrong with driving like a truck. A truck doesn't have to drive like a car for it to be a good vehicle. I guess it's a simple way of saying it. Okay, so we have a nice leather interior, moonroof, obviously very well equipped with the limited trim, power roll down rear window. I can always just picture like a golden retriever or a dog popping their head out of there getting some fresh air. That's another thing, almost all the sport utility vehicles back in the day used to have these roll down rear windows. Now that's kind of a rare thing too. Here's a four-wheel drive system, and like a true, four-wheel drive vehicle, it has a 2-speed transfer case with a low range, heated and ventilated front seats, power front seats, dual zone auto climate control, navigation, parking camera, JBL audio system, nice leather-up steering wheel. We have 33,184 miles at the time of making this video. This 4Runner is a one-owner, clean Carfax vehicle from the Pacific Northwest. Looks like it spent most of its life in Oregon. I really love the styling of the 4Runner. Nice, handsome looking truck-inspired design. And of course, you're going to have outstanding reliability and amazing resale value with the 4Runner. Some of the most reliable vehicles on the road. I mean, go on Craigslist and look at how many people are still selling old 4Runners with 200,000+ miles on them. There's a reason why there's so many 4Runners out there of all those miles on them, because they're very well-built vehicles. And you can also see that even though those 4Runners on Craigslist have a lot of miles on them, people are still asking a decent amount of money on them. So that just goes to show you these really do retain their value very well. And since people know they're reliable vehicles and they can go many hundreds of thousands of miles, people aren't as nervous as, forking over a good amount of money for a vehicle of, 150, 200,000 miles on it, because they know it's well built and it's going to last potentially a lot longer. So we have a 120 power outlet back here. Then we have a conventional, you know, car power outlet, 12 volt cargo area protector. Of course, you can fold down those seats for more cargo space. We have a tow hitch on here, as I mentioned before, with its body and frame truck-based architecture. It's a good tow rig. And for an engine, we have that familiar 4-liter V6. Awesome engine. You can also find this engine in the Toyota Tacoma. Great engine, all the power you need, and super duper reliable. Thanks so much for taking the time today to watch this video. Hopefully we see you soon, and have a wonderful day.